All right, hey guys, welcome to another video. If you guys can tell, we're a little bit lower. We addressed the suspension issue. Again, this thing was pretty high up. The stock suspension is arguably worse than a Golf RS3's suspension. For some reason, the front is way higher than the rear. We've since fixed that. I like to say we fixed it with the 034 or 034 lowering springs. It's about nearly a 1 inch, just under a 1 inch drop on all four corners. The biggest drop is obviously in the front. The rear doesn't drop too much, but just enough. It's not a significant drop. It's not nothing I would say is a day and night difference, because in all reality, you could still see the top of the tire and the front still kind of looks a little bit higher. Bear in mind, the front is running a little bit of stretch on the tire, whereas it's a little more meaty in the rear. So I don't know if that's kind of just throwing off the look. Again, once we address the wheels, which I have wheels, I'll get into that a little bit into the video. But yeah, I'm really happy with how the car came out. On top of that, we've also addressed the brakes. The brakes were so bad. I'll insert a photo now. And as you guys can see, the grooving just from this car sitting, it wasn't driven, you know, it's a 2018 when I bought it with, you know, 17,000 miles. So the car wasn't driven year round. In fact, just from the brakes alone, it looked like, I mean, it was barely driven. So these brakes, I went with the ECS tuning. This is the drilled and slotted rotors, as well as EBC red stuff pads, which so far I'm really happy, aside from a little bit of squeaking. However, I think some of that was due to me bedding them in kind of on a rainy day. I don't know if the rain or the water got between the pad and the rotor, prevented my bedding from, I don't know, bedding. But that's really it. I mean, I'm very happy with this. And again, the rear, same story. We're running it drilled and slotted, which I was kind of on the fence about. In fact, I'd be really happy with just slotted, just for peace of mind, because I know if you really get these things hot and kind of with heat cycles, you can crack these. But there's so much material, and even though there is, you know, again, compared to the stock ones that I was running, they're very lightweight. Actually, they're almost lighter than I think the OEM ones. In fact, I believe they're quoted as lighter. I never had the comparison, because what was left of my stock rotors, it was abysmal. On top of everything, we have a temporary mod in the RS3 right now, and we did the I forget which brand. Again, one of you guys actually reached out and made me a very nice deal on mid pipes. So we are running, I guess, secondary cat deletes / mid pipes. So I'm really happy with the sound of it. It's nice, but again, I want to throw an exhaust on it. We have an exhaust in the mail. It's probably going to be here early next week. And well, talk about great timing. You know, we've been kind of ghost mode on you guys for like a month and a half or so, and I'm never going to do that again. I know I tend to do that from time to time, but you know, just to kind of keep the channel alive, you really kind of have to be consistent, and I understand that. So other things we have to address with this car, I think probably the next big ones aside from the exhaust is I'm going to get the car re-PPF'd. As you guys can see, the headlights kind of are a little rough. This is kind of tough. I haven't tended to that, and that's been an issue since day one. And really that's that. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to do any other things to it, but yeah, we'll hop right in. And I kind of found a cool back road. I was just driving around this morning, and on top of that, I learned a new thing about this car, and I'll show y'all. All right, so classic displays, guys. You can't go wrong with those. I was stoked when I found out you could do that. I was the happiest camper. So as you guys can see, we have normal car displays, because otherwise the RS3 has just the single kind of sport display. And I don't know if this is called classic display or not, but I'm very happy with it, because oh, got some mic stud going, some mic dot. All right, let's take her for a little spin. But guys, oh my god, I am really liking this car more and more. So each and every mod that I do to this car, it just makes it a lot better. I wasn't really happy with kind of how the car started. Factory form, it's good. It turns heads, whatever, you know, it's an RS3, but like, it's missing that soul. It's a very aggressive car compared to the Golf R and the S3 and all those other cars, just because the shift, and I want to say a lot of it's kind of gearbox centric when I say aggressive, just because of just how this car shifts. It is really aggressive. And this is actually, just so you guys know, this is the first time I've driven with these displays, and I really like it. So far, so happy. All right, this might be a bit of a doozy, but if we turn off traction and stability, we might be able to kind of get the back end a little squirrely on upshift. We'll crack this open, get a little more noise. And yeah. Oh my God, this thing sounds so good. So guys, I've had this thing for nearly 6 months or so. That's a rough estimate. You know, it's August, bought it in March, so I'm not gonna do the math. I really haven't even thought about how long I've really owned this car, but I would say roughly half a year. I've put, I mean, 17,000 miles, 17,400 when I bought it, so 23,700. I drive this thing a lot, I really do. And there's a lot of things I like about it. There's certainly things I really don't like about it. And again, I still need to make a video addressing things I like about this thing, things I don't like about this thing, because it's like the thing I liked about the Golf R is there's nothing I hated about it, but there's nothing I loved, if that makes sense, you know? So again, things to kind of keep in mind. I will say that when it comes to the things I like about this car, it really it outshines the bad stuff. And there's the two main things I really do like about this thing is the speed and kind of the feeling of speed. It's oh my God, just for stage one, and IE does a good job at this. They really kind of know their customer and they know this car. I really, really like how this thing picks up. All the way to redline it pulls. In fact, I'm embarrassed to say, but I've redlined this thing probably like 4 times now, and you know, off the throttle, shift, get it to the next gear so it's not banging redline. But I've done it a couple times where I'm just like, I'm so addicted to the power, I wish I had more RPMs to work with. But that's just such a minute thing, and it's easily corrected. And I think a lot of it's just because of where I'm coming from with the Golf R. The Golf R, that gearbox was snappier, a little bit quicker on upshift, but not as fast as downshift. So, you know, whatever. But just from what I'm used to, and kind of just this car in general. But yeah, it is a real treat to drive, and I really do enjoy it. And then on top of everything, the real kind of elephant in the room, and something I'm super excited to enhance even further, is the exhaust note. I do have mid pipes in the car, as I mentioned before. However, one of the things that I think is going to really, really wake this car up is a true catback exhaust. Again, valved. It's good. It's really good. Launch control smokes the tires. I gotta figure that one out. I'm gonna run 18-inch wheels. I already have wheels that I pre-selected. It was part of this build. It was something that I really wanted to do for the longest time. OZ wheels, HLT, I believe, Ultra Legeras or Legeras. Amazing wheel, but they're 19s, and the issue is the offset's also pretty aggressive, so I would be rubbing the inner fender. I suspect I'll do that even with the other tire that other wheel and tire that I'm gonna go with. But the most important thing is comfort for me, and these cars are dreadfully uncomfortable, and the only way that you can kind of combat that is with a smaller wheel. Even with suspension, I know I lowered it, but truly these lowering springs did not change the way this car drives in a bad way, I guess you could say. The good thing is the turn-in is it's just much more direct. Granted, this is not as low as I made the Golf R. However, it really kind of does feel more reactive. The body roll that this thing has from factory is insanely bad. I really actually hope IE does pump out some sway bars. I don't know if I can put the S3 Golf R ones in this car, but in case I can, man, I'm gonna do that. It's just gonna be that much better. And one of the things that I keep mentioning, the things that make this car better, is obviously modifying it. And truly one of the best modifications you can do with this car is weight reduction. Weight reduction is huge. It already has the power and it has the torque. Yeah, and I'll tell you, one other thing that I'm really, really happy to say I did, and it actually truly made a big difference with this vehicle, is the brakes. And I'll show you guys kind of what I'm talking about. Do I have anything that's gonna go flying? Let's just, all right, we'll do 50. And I'm gonna give it, I won't go all the way down on the brake, but, oh, it's just better. Again, I was working with a really, really awful brake pad and rotor. It was so corroded, and again, the grooving was just that bad. But I'll tell you now, it's just an animal. It stops on a dime, which for my type of driving, I got a lead foot, I really do. And when it comes to, you know, those higher speeds, I really like to have that feeling that I can stop the car in time. So these brakes really did improve the car. In fact, I don't even think there's a better brake out there for the money. OEM brakes are so expensive. Audi quoted me $4,200 bucks. ECS tuning, $1,800 bucks. Brakes, pads, boom, everything, all the necessary hardware you need. You just need some tools. And I'll tell you something, these rotors, calipers, they're off an R8. They're off, I think, an old Gen R8. Even some of the newer Gen R8s, I've seen them with these brakes. What are they, 6 pistons? And doing brakes and pads on these, granted, I had my friend Danny do it. Thank you, Danny. You saved me big time. But watching him do this, it was a really easy process. It's a little bit easier, if you ask me, than the Golf R, you know, brake calipers, or even, I guess, the standard S3, A3, whatever. It's easy. They feed in from the top. You just take the pin out. There's a little bracket, a little carrier bracket, pull that out, and then, you know, theoretically, they slide out. You don't need a compressor. You just take the right type of tool and then just compress the pistons. It's a really easy process. I was impressed. I really was. Yeah, I mean, the brakes, big difference. I highly recommend these brakes, and the best thing is they're 2-piece rotors, so you can switch them out real easy without really kind of batting an eye. But I'll tell you, this mid-pipe did make a big difference. Again, I wish I knew the brand at the top of my head, but I don't. They were kind of older mid-pipes, and these mid-pipes aren't to stay, because truly what my goal is, I'm just going to do the catback, and then, you know, probably a year from now, probably to this, maybe this day, I'll be stage 2. So that's the goal, and that's kind of where we're progressing with this. And again, I want to thank IE so much for supporting the channel, allowing me to do this, because if it weren't for them, I don't really know. I'd be perhaps in a different type of car, but, you know, I'm really glad I went this route, and I'm really glad I went with this 8V.5. The 8Ys are really handsome, and again, they have that really nice diff. But I'm glad I went with this one. It's such a nice car. It's a really good feeling. And for the 2 years that I plan on owning this car, I have so many plans for it. I'm really excited to kind of showcase those with you guys as time goes on. But yeah, no, this thing is an absolute rocket ship, and the only thing I might say it's missing, and you don't need one of these on stock turbo, whatever the internet says, a TCU tune is a good addition to a car, especially if you need it. I know with the MQB, anything that's below the Dazas would benefit from one, even stage 1 high torque. However, with these cars on stock turbo, you really don't need a transmission tune. You just don't. It's excessive, and it's money just you don't need to spend. So I'm really happy that with where the car is now, I just wouldn't mind if it was a little quicker shifting when it comes to the upshift. But the downshifts, I mean, those are pretty reactive, and of course you get the rev matching, which I love the rev matching. Oh, sounds so good. Yeah, I'm telling you. So the next things I would tell you right now, I know exactly what this car needs just from driving and comparing it to the Golf R. A little bit of weight loss. It needs a kind of a mini diet. That's the first thing I'll say. I think that could be easily remedied with a set of wheels and oh, it just sounds so good. A set of wheels and I think sway bars too. I know that's probably going to add a little bit of weight, but you know, replacing the end links, doing some sway bars, ideally in the rear. I don't know about the front. I'll probably hold off on the front. I did it both to the Golf R, and I was very happy with it, but the significant difference was the rear. So I'll probably entertain something like that. Let me think of what else I want to do. I think that's kind of the meat and potatoes. I want to address the handling a lot, because the straight line performance is would the right word be unholy? I mean, this thing is just an absolute it's unbelievably fast. IE, you guys know how to tune these. All right. Oh man, it just pulls. It's so remarkably reactive. It's a good car. It's a really good car. I understand why people like these Dazas. I really do. I can't hate on it. But anyway, guys, this is my kind of, I'm back to YouTube again. I don't know, what do I do? A yearly time. I think July is going to be my my break from YouTube month going forward every year. It's been a nice hiatus, but I won't lie, I feel a little guilty from not posting in a while. So we're back to our kind of, I'd like to say, weekly schedule. My next video, if it's not going to be, I'll phrase it this way. I probably plan on doing a dedicated braking video, because I actually really want to cover these brakes into more detail. I know this video is going to just kind of encompass it all, but I do want to make a more dedicated video covering these brakes, and maybe even just the suspension in one video, just because I want to show you guys and kind of break down the exact reason why I really like this and why I went this way too, because I had options. I could have gone, you know, any other way. I could have gone OEM. I could have, you know, I know 034, they make a really solid brake as well, but I went with this, and I don't regret it, and I'll make a video kind of explaining each and every mod and why. But and you know, I got more videos planned for just the car itself, explaining, you know, why I went with this over the, you know, selling the Golf R, went with this car, not going big turbo in the Golf R. A lot of people were probably wondering why. I think although I probably explained it a couple times, I don't mind covering that sort of in all-in-one video, and just why I bought this car in general, because I still haven't even covered a video on that. But I wanted to own it for a little bit, kind of just see how I feel, see if I regretted it or not, which I'm happy to say I don't regret it. I'm happy I got this car. But yeah, I'm excited to kind of just keep producing these videos, guys, and you guys sticking around. It's amazing that you guys are still you know, kind of just watching my videos, because I know I'll admit there's times when I take a break from YouTube. Thank you guys again for watching. I really do appreciate all you guys, as I mentioned before, and if you guys have any questions, any requests for what you guys want to see next, let me know, and we'll go from there. But I think without further ado, we'll cut the video there. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace and love.